Dudettes! How are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome to Chazzy's Movie Reviews. By now you guys already know how this works. I watch a movie, usually one that's in theaters, newly released, and I come here to review it for you guys, okay? The movie I'm going to review today, it's been a while since it came out, okay? It's been a few months, alright? It's old, this video is very late, but I'm still going to review Annabelle Comes Home. As you guys may already know, those of you who watch this channel with frequency, I am a huge fan of horror. You know, if things scary in general, games, movies, books, you know, all these kinds of horror subculture genres. And since this month is Halloween, I think it's a good opportunity for me to make my channel a little spooky for you guys. So, some scary movie reviews, some creepypasta narrations, and even some scary gameplays, alright? Now, with Annabelle Comes Home, I'm going to be using Wikipedia a little bit just to remember a few details, okay? Because it's been a while, alright? I forgot the characters' names and the actors and actresses who played them, okay? And certain plot details. But anyway, let's get into it. Annabelle Comes Home.
What about the doll that's in there? Annabelle, she's in a case for a reason.
Right off the bat, not too scary. Okay, if you guys, if you want to watch a horror movie but you're kind of afraid of the effect it's gonna leave on your psyche, don't worry, it's not too bad, okay? Annabelle Creation was much worse in my opinion, alright? Now, thing is guys, I did a review for Annabelle Creation a while back too when I watched it. You guys can go check that one out too later. Now, in every single one of these videos, I spoil the movie, okay? There's gonna be a lot of spoilers, alright? So just getting that out of the way right now, okay? So if you guys still haven't seen the movie and you don't want it spoiled for you, don't even watch this one. Now, here's the thing, guys. Horror is a very, very delicate subject for you to cover in cinema, all right? There are correct ways to do horror and there are incorrect ways to do horror, okay? Annabelle Comes Home kind of mixed both of them, all right? It was a horror movie. It did have a few creepy elements, but it wasn't the scariest thing in the world. Basically, the plot is that the Annabelle doll was brought to the Warrens Occult Museum in Connecticut, right? And now, while they're in there, the Warrens' daughter, who again are played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, their daughter Judy is having a babysitter over, okay, to watch her. But then one of the babysitter's friends comes over because she wants to contact her dead dad, all right? And she figures what better place to do this than a place where there's literally hundreds of haunted artifacts and a place where they're trying to keep out the evil and whatnot. So she goes to do this, she goes to try to contact her dad, and of course that's when all hell breaks loose.
Don't your parents keep any creepy stuff around?
We keep it all locked away in a room. It's not good for anyone to go in there. My dad says that everything in there is either haunted, cursed, or used in some ritualistic practice.
Now, let me see if I can remember. I don't remember the characters' names, but aside from Judy, there is Mary Ellen, who's the babysitter, and her friend is Daniela, okay? Daniela is probably one of, if not the dumbest horror movie characters of all time. To those of you who have seen the movie, you're gonna understand what I'm talking about. She does so many ridiculous and idiotic things that it's hard for you to root for her to stay alive by the end of the movie, all right? It's really hard. I was actively rooting for her to die at one point, okay? Now, things like, for example, going into the room where there's all of the haunted artifacts that you shouldn't get near or touch or provoke, she goes in there and intentionally provokes a lot of different things to happen, okay? She tries to raise the dead because she wants to talk to her dead dad, who I guess died in a car accident some time ago, and she feels guilty, and now she just wants to talk to him and try to apologize. There is a very cool scene that does have a very good jump scare. The movie is filled with cheap jump scares, but there are a few good ones. Like this one, for example, where she's playing the piano, and then I guess it's a song that her dad taught her or knows too. And then he shows up, you know, you can see his ghostly hand next to her playing with her, and then in the mirror she looks and sees his face, but then she turns around and you guessed it, he's all demonic and screaming at her and all that, you know. Pretty cool. I think it's a good concept, you know. It was a jump scare, like, done correctly. However, it's not the entire movie that matches the creativity displayed in this particular scene, you know? There was another jump scare where Mary Ellen was walking around the house picking up coins, right? Because the Annabelle doll, she summoned, of course the doll was in the movie again, of course, she summons a lot of different spirits to try and terrorize the girls, including the ferryman.
What's that? The ferryman. They put coins all over the eyes of the dead. so he could take their souls.
The Bride, Filet Mealy board game, and The Black Shuck. The Black Shuck is kind of like a hellhound kind of thing, a really big black dog that tries to, well, eat you, I imagine. Now, the thing is, there was a scene where Mary Ellen was picking up some coins left by the ferryman, and then as she picks them up, you start to build up some dread, right? And then when she finally gets to the last one, she holds it up and boom, there's a jump scare. A ghostly face pops up using the coins for eyes.
No.
There are moments where you know a jump scare is going to happen. This is one of the biggest problems with this movie and horror movies today in general. Every single jump scare is so telegraphed. You know when they're going to happen because of all the cliches and the classic tropes. That's why it was hard for this movie to scare me. And a friend of mine, I went with my friend who's also my neighbor, and we kind of reacted the same way. It didn't scare us too much. It was more entertaining than frightening, you know? And remember guys, the Annabelle doll is just a conduit, right? The doll itself is harmless. The problem is the demons that are behind her, manipulating her, as we saw in the first and the second movie. However, in this one, there was one scene in particular, because in Annabelle Creation, there were scenes that made the doll really look like it had a mind of its own, and that was really creepy, you know, that was really scary. But in this one, it's more like, you know, there was one scene where Judy was laying in bed trying to fall asleep, and then there was something tugging at her feet, and then she lifts up the covers and sees the doll at her feet. Like, who put that doll there? You know? And then there's a jump scare. I believe it was a ghost or a demon that came out from the covers and scared her. And the first movie was kind of like, it was something special, you know? But the problem is that I saw it like 20 times, so it didn't scare me at all after a certain point. But the first time I saw it, it was really creepy, even after I saw that the demon was controlling the doll. Annabelle Comes Home didn't really disappoint too much in terms of this, but I think that there was a reliance, you know, an overabundance of cheap jump scares, and then the real scares couldn't really get the proper effect in there. There was one scene in particular that was kind of unnerving, that the Daniela, right, she goes into a room and she gets locked in there. And in this room, I think this happened in the 70s or 80s, so there was a very old style classic television set there, but this television set in particular showed you the future, right? So you would look into it and you would see yourself and something happening to you or around you in the next few seconds or minutes, something like that. And then there was a scene where Daniela was away from the TV, but the TV showed her looking at it with her face all bloodied and cut, like her skin was peeled off. This really unnerved me because despite my love for horror movies, I can't watch anything bloody and gory. I don't do violence. I'm sorry, I do not do violence. So when this scene happened, I was like, okay, it's gonna come. It's gonna come. The TV showed the future. She's gonna come and cut her face, or I think she was supposed to answer a phone, and then if something on the phone call happens, I don't know. She's about to answer the phone, then her friends come and save her at the very last second, which was one hell of a relief because I did not want to see that scene, you know. But this girl, Daniela, is just really dumb. She's really dumb. She did so many stupid things in the movie, you know, like intentionally provoking the demons and trying to summon the dead, and I think there was a Ouija board involved. There are a bunch of really dumb things. Now, let's focus on the Annabelle doll. Now, the first movie was about an origin story for the doll, which was totally unnecessary because the real life story of the Annabelle doll, in my opinion, is already frightening enough. Sorry, I think the camera moved. Is already frightening enough, all right? Now, the original Annabelle doll in real life, the Raggedy Ann doll, she's not as frightening as the doll that we've seen in the movies, of course, but this is, in case you guys don't know, this is the original Annabelle doll. This is the Raggedy Ann doll here. All right, I don't know if it's gonna focus and show you guys. And this is the doll that was shown in the movie, all right? Now, in my opinion, the Raggedy Ann doll, she is pretty scary in her own right, you know? I mean, it's not the scariest thing in the world, especially if you compare it to this one here, of course. But still, it has a certain charm, you know? It has a certain charm, and it does kind of creep me out a little bit because it's always so happy and smiling, you know? Now, the first movie came up with an origin story for the Annabelle doll instead of using the one that happened in real life. I don't know why. And then the second movie came up with, like, for example, the first movie showed you how the doll was possessed, and then the second movie showed an origin story of the origin story. It showed the same doll being actually crafted by a toy maker, you know, actually made and whatnot. and then they sealed it away because there was this other demonic thing happening, you know. Go watch my review and you guys will see. Now in this movie, the doll was finally placed in the Warrens Occult Museum in Connecticut, and a bunch of crap starts to happen. The idea was good. I think there was a lot of potential there, but the execution was less than satisfactory in my opinion. I think James Wan could have made this. I don't even know if James Wan is the one who directed it. Did James Wan direct this movie? I don't know. Let me check here. Because he's one of my favorite directors of all time. You know, let's see. Directed by Gary Dauberman. So not even James Wan. I think Gary really had some missed potential there. I mean, he didn't really hit it out of the park, you know. The cheap jump scares just made the movie feel too cliche and dry, you know. There were good moments, you know, but there were also bad moments that really dragged it down. The music was good, you know, it built up a suspense in the right moments, you know. There was one time where the black shuck, the dog, right, or the wolf, whatever have you, there was a scene where a character was trying to serenade one of the teenage girls playing music for her on his guitar outside, and the dog materializes out of nowhere. The shuck comes out of nowhere and chases him, and you're like, yeah, he's dead. You're pretty sure he's dead. He hides in a barn, a shack, and then later this same character goes and like scares off the shuck or whatever. I think he hits it with his guitar. I don't remember exactly what it does, but really corny, really cliche, you know. And the scary thing about the whole movie is that the events that happen in the house are frightening enough, and then when they manage to go outside the house, there's this misty fog everywhere that makes it impossible for you to see. So it's scary in the house and it's scary outside of the house. So you literally can't escape no matter what you do. And at one point Daniela becomes possessed, because obviously this has to happen, it's a horror movie, somebody has to get possessed, and it's her in this case. And I think it was done pretty cool, you know. It was very scary when she was trying to kill the other girls, you know. And the casting was pretty okay. I think that the girls, they did a pretty good job. The best character in the movie in my opinion was Judy, played by a very young actress. Let's see here, McKenna Grace played Judy Warren. And I think she did a really good performance for someone her age. She's really young. And then you had Madison Eastman playing Mary Ellen, Katie Saffrey playing Daniela, blah, 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 all of that. So then Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are the only ones that return that I know. Of course, they only appear at the beginning and the end of the movie. And there's a very touching scene at the end of the movie where Lorraine tells Daniela, who was trying to contact her dead father, that, you know, he forgave her for what happened. He didn't think that it was his fault, her fault, you know, and he still loves her. And this happened because remember that remember that Lorraine is a clairvoyant, you know. She sees the future, she has visions, and she can communicate with the dead. So she talked with Daniela's deceased father, who passed on this message to her. I thought it was really heartwarming and touching. It made me cry, man. It made me cry at the end of the movie. I can admit it. I'm man enough to admit there were a few tears that were shed on my behalf. All right. But look, guys, in general, Annabelle Comes Home is a pretty solid movie, okay? Now, I think that if you haven't seen it yet, it's worth it. It's worth checking out, you know. I'd probably give it maybe a 7.5 out of 10 stars. It doesn't deserve an 8 all the way, but still pretty impressive. I still liked it. It's a good movie. And I'm going to leave a link up here to a channel that I really like called Top Fives, who does horror content in general, you know, and all month long for Halloween they always do something special, something scary. I think this is the channel that made a documentary about the real Annabelle doll some time ago. If it is, I'll leave a link here. If not, I'll leave a link for the right video in whichever channel it was. And that's all for today, guys. That's all for today. I was really excited to record this video because there's a whole new format now. I'm using a new camera, you know, new lighting, new tools, you know, so it's I hope my videos are going to look a little more professional now, okay? So I hope that you guys like my new rebranding. I've been rebranding myself, making some different kinds of content on the channel, new name, new, you know, just a bunch of new things, all right? I'm trying to finish this quickly so the camera doesn't run out of batteries. So guys, thank you for watching, okay? Annabelle Comes Home is definitely worth seeing if you still haven't, okay? It's not in theaters anymore, obviously, so you can probably check it out on rental or wait until it drops on Netflix or something, okay? So, that's it. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.
Annabelle is the beacon for other spirits.
Mrs. Warren?
Mom, is everything okay?
Something is happening inside your house and we're not really sure what to do.
Can I speak to Annabelle? I'm sorry?
You need to give her a soul, dear. She wants us.